Welcome to the Weekends Overrated. It's your host, Don Dollar. Boy, it feel great outside. Slight breeze with a whole lot of sun. Boy, feeling like listen. But definitely want to shout out everybody who's been checking out the content so far. YouTube, Instagram, liking, subscribing, and sharing. We do appreciate it. Just trying to keep the momentum going. We definitely want to, keep talking real things in real time with real people. In regards to today's episode, it was on my mind to kind of tap into aspiring to be better, and not allowing people around you to make you waver off of what you set out for yourself. I feel like it's important to not necessarily just want to settle into just being comfortable, or quote unquote. I know for me, I'm always looking for like different ways to challenge myself, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, especially as you get older. You don't have the bevy of things, especially if you were like an athlete, as I formerly was. But I think sometimes when you kind of like show a certain level of focus, it can kind of like make people think that you think you better than them, or you trying to be better than them, when really you're just trying to be the best version of yourself. And I feel like for me, I'm the kind of person that I can love you to death, but I could like not care about what you think at all, especially if it's counter to what I've already had set in place for myself. And I feel like, being comfortable, with letting people know like, hey, I love you to death, but I don't care about what you think. I feel like a lot of people were like apprehensive or afraid of that like possible confrontation, but I feel like for me, I'm always one to say I can't make decisions based off of somebody else's opinions or thoughts that I have to live with the results of. So in regards to wanting to do self-improvement, just do it. Either people will either get motivated and inspired, or they'll just be envious and jealous, or whatever other word association you could throw in there. But what's wrong with wanting to be better? Or what's wrong with actually being better? Right? I feel like anytime I've ever seen anybody do something great, or accomplish something, or make tremendous progress, that's only made me look in the mirror and reinforce my motivation to want to create my own version of that, and not from a competitive standpoint so forth, but it's more so it's iron sharpening iron. So I've had my share of associates, friends, family members who, if I'm doing something, or whether it's recent or current or even in the past, I've had the individuals who show that support and that unconditional love, and then I have the other individuals who have the slight remarks. They might cook a joke in there somewhere, but it's really like soft hating. But those type of thoughts, I don't, I kind of leave them where they are. I don't really pay too much attention to it, because if I concern myself with what somebody else thinks or how somebody else feels, that's just going to take away from the focus that I need to, implement in order to, make myself better. Because one thing that I don't, believe in, like willfully being ignorant. Like, if I know I'm lactose intolerant, I'm not going to willfully keep indulging in dairy. If I know, I don't know, if I know I have a health condition that, let's say, smoking, significantly increases, I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to be around people who smoking. You know what I mean? Like, it's just certain things that I'm just not going to do. And having that level of discipline, it's foreign to people who are, prone to just being willfully ignorant. Only thing I can do is I can just do what I do and hope that, it leads to be, what's the word? It leads to be an example for someone to, use to, make themselves better. But I never go into wanting to do something just to prove something to somebody else, or to make someone else feel like they're less than, or all of those that idea, that energy, those words, that verbiage, all of that comes from a place of insecurity in which I know nothing about. So I just, whenever it kind of comes my way, I just brush it off, because again, I'll always be an example, of how to, encounter things that, don't necessarily serve you, especially, like I said, when you're trying to just improve yourself. And there's so many different ways you can improve yourself. You can improve yourself from a financial standpoint. You could say, hey, I'm going to start saving $100 a month or $100 a paycheck, starting next month. If you tell someone, hey, I've been saving money, that's going to do two things. That's going to either, motivate them to do the same if they're not already doing it, or show a certain level of support, in your efforts to, do better financially. Or it'll be something, you could say negative that, doesn't necessarily reinforce, that positive energy that you would hope to get. If you say, hey, I'm gonna start going to the library more, start reading more, or I'm gonna start exercising more, or I'm gonna start doing things more productive with my free time, opposed to utilizing it for social media or just the phone or devices in general. Sometimes I feel like that can be like someone can have like a mirror to themselves if they hear someone that they know, closely, wanting to improve on those things. I feel like it could be sometimes like a look in the mirror, or, like a reflection of what they want to do, but feel like they can't do, or just haven't done. So all in all, don't feel bad about wanting to be better, because what the fuck is wrong with wanting to be better? Who the hell wants to stay the same? What's wrong with growing? And I think a good amount of people feel as though once they get to a certain age that they've done all the growing that they need to do, when I'm totally against that. I feel like we grow until we are no longer. So I feel like sometimes your efforts to grow will show based on the initiatives that you take. So if you're an individual who just feel like it all, then you want to be stuck in your ways, then fortunately, no, you won't grow. But if you're an individual who's a continuous sponge, who wants to soak up information, who wants to learn how to do new things, wants to learn new information and see how you can apply it to your own life to make your life better, then you're going to be an individual who, succeeds at a lot of things and builds new relationships and opens new doors. So, if you're a person who gets negative when someone's improving themselves, and if you take it the wrong way, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're a person who is, continuously trying to improve themselves through different measures, keep it up, and don't be deterred, because life is full of deterrents already. So that's all we got for today. It is a beautiful day outside. So again, you guys enjoy, and